Ladies and gentlemen, you ever drive something so small that a shopping cart challenges you to a drag race? Welcome to the Goggomobil T250 sedan, the car that answers the question, what if your mailbox had a license plate? This Bavarian breadbox on wheels wasn't built for speed, status, or ego. It was built so even your Uncle Klaus, who only had a license for tractors and goats, could legally terrorize public roads in something with a roof. Before we shift into reverse and ride straight into post-war microcar madness, a special thank you to our channel sponsors. That's right, all you lovely folks who clicked the join button and now fund Timmy's so-called research expenses, which mostly consist of beer, two-stroke oil, and suspicious charges from a place called Goggo Girls of Stuttgart. You know who you are. And Bob, thank you too. Even though you keep sending letters to BMW demanding they reissue the T250 with solar panels and alien repellent. Now, buckle in because we're going to Germany, 1953. The story of the Goggomobil T250 begins with Hans Glas, the head of a Bavarian company that had been selling Goggo scooters like hot pretzels. But Hans saw the writing on the Autobahn wall. People were tired of being wet, cold, and covered in bugs, so he ordered something revolutionary, a car that scooter drivers could afford, drive without a full car license, and ideally not be killed in. Enter Karl Dompert, Glas's chief engineer and former aircraft designer, and Felix Dozerkarl, the engine wizard who previously worked for Adler Motorcycles. Together, they whipped up a prototype that looked like someone shrunk a regular car in the wash. It had a 250 cubic centimeters two-stroke twin, a rear engine, and originally just one front door, like a fridge or a trap. Luckily, Hans Glas had a family friend, the legendary racer Schorsch Meyer, who politely said, "Are you insane?" and convinced them to give the car side doors instead. And thus the Goggomobil sedan was born, debuting at the 1954 IFMA show and entering production in spring 1955. The design was intentionally conventional, none of that Messerschmitt jet cockpit stuff. Just two doors, 4 seats, allegedly, and a shape that didn't frighten livestock. It was meant to be driven with Germany's Class 4 license, the one you could get if you knew how to operate a donkey cart. Production ramped up fast. By late 1955, Dingolfing was churning out 150 cars a day, and they still couldn't meet demand. The base model was the T250 for 250 cubic centimeters, soon joined by the T300 and T400 with beefier engines. In 1957, they added civilized features like a second windshield wiper and wind-up windows. Timmy said he still misses the authentic Bavarian fog blindness experience. In 1964, they even ditched the suicide doors for safer front-hinged ones, probably after a few owners got launched into the bushes while exiting uphill. And yes, these micro-marvels were exported. In Australia, they became the underpinnings of the fiberglass-bodied Goggomobil Dart, a car so cute you'd swear it was designed by Pixar. In Spain, they were built under license by Munguia Industrial. Even in America, a few brave souls imported them with sealed beam headlights and dreams of microcar freedom, probably while being chased by trucks. When BMW took over Glas in 1966, they kept the Goggo line alive until June 30th, 1969, but never dared slap a roundel on the thing, because nothing says ultimate driving machine like a 13-horsepower jelly bean. Total production? 174,548 Goggomobil T250 sedan. So what made this thing tick? Besides the possibility of being blown over by a passing Vespa, the T250 ran a 247 cubic centimeters air-cooled two-stroke twin-cylinder engine designed by Dozerkarl and fired up via a Dynastart. That's a starter and generator in one unit, in case your battery has trust issues. Power peaked at 13.6 horsepower at 5,400 revolutions per minute, which in car terms is adorable. Torque, roughly 21 Newton meters, which won't rearrange your face, but will get you to the bakery. Transmission was a 4-speed manual, unsynchronized rear-wheel drive. But the twist? The whole drivetrain sat transversely behind the rear axle, giving it a weird cross-shift pattern. Gears could be changed without double declutching. There was even an optional Getrag Selectromat electromagnetic pre-selector, kind of like an automatic for people who hated clutch pedals but trusted 1950s German wiring. Suspension was surprisingly advanced. Independent swing axles with coil springs front and rear. The steering was rack and pinion, giving decent feedback, rare for microcars of the time. It even had hydraulic drum brakes on all wheels, 180 millimeters diameter, which technically counts as stopping. The whole car measured 2.9 meters long, 9 feet 6 inches, 1.26 meters wide, and 1.31 meters tall, with a wheelbase of 1.8 meters. Curb weight, just 420 kilograms, 926 pounds. That's light enough to carry between 4 guys and a dare. Top speed hovered around 74 to 80 kilometers per hour, 46 to 50 miles per hour, depending on wind direction and how many bratwursts were in the back seat. Fuel consumption was an economical 4.4 to 6.0 liters per 100 kilometers, which means you'd spend more money on two-stroke oil than gasoline. Like every good piece of automotive folklore, the Goggomobil T250 comes with a myth. According to one well-lubricated tale, Hans Glas was caught in a downpour after Oktoberfest, riding home soaked to the bone on his trusty scooter. Somewhere between the 10th beer and the 5th thunderclap, he apparently swore to build a car with a roof. Now, did he say that before or after trying to bribe a cow for directions? We'll never know, but the result was real and built in metal. In Germany, the sedan earned nicknames like Hustengutzel, Cough Drop, and Goggo Flitzer, Goggo Flyer. Yes, flyer. Like a hamster flyer. Enthusiasts still keep these tiny beasts alive. The Glass Club register lists at least 539 sedans surviving as of May 2025. Some brave souls have even taken them on long-distance tours, including one that reportedly cruised 3,000 kilometers across Germany, which is like running a marathon while wearing bunny slippers. Back in 1955, a brand new Goggomobil T250 would set you back about 3,190 Deutsche Marks, rising to 3,330 Deutsche Marks by the late 1960s. Adjusted for inflation and converted to modern currency, that's roughly 9,500 to 12,400 euros, or about $10,500 to $13,600 today. Not bad for something with 4 seats, sort of, and 1.5 lawnmowers worth of power. But don't be fooled by the budget label. Rare, well-kept Goggomobiles can fetch real money. At R.M. Sotheby's legendary Bruce Weiner Microcar Museum auction in 2013, a mint 1950 T250 with a sliding sunroof went for $63,250. That's almost $5,000 per horsepower. I've seen supercars sell for less per pony. Today, decent Goggomobil sedans usually trade hands for $10,000 to $20,000, with tired projects going for less and pristine examples topping $30,000. It wasn't fast, it wasn't flashy, but it was honest, charming, and surprisingly clever. It gave dignity to people who couldn't afford a real car or couldn't legally drive one, and it never pretended to be anything it wasn't. And in a world of overpriced, overcomplicated machines, there's something deeply lovable about that. Timmy once said the Goggo was like his third marriage, compact, loud, and kept running on a weird mixture of gas and oil. Bob says it's the only car small enough to avoid alien detection. If you ever get the chance to drive one, don't pass it up. Just maybe pack light. And that's the story of the Goggomobil T250 sedan, Bavaria's bouncing baby microcar that outlived its scooter roots, took on the world and somehow became a legend, one exhaust puff at a time. Now, if you enjoyed this history lesson wrapped in sarcasm and oil smoke, smash that subscribe button like Timmy smashed his rear axle trying to jump a speed bump. Stick around, we've got more tiny treasures, bizarre engines, and absolutely legal road nightmares coming soon. Until then, may your pistons fire true, your carburetors stay clean, and may your neighbors never own a leaf blower louder than your engine.